love me, almost made you cry, almost made you happy, babe. Didn't I, didn't I? You almost had me thinking you were turned around, but everybody knows almost doesn't count. Almost heard the saying you were finally free. What was always missing for you, babe? You found it in me. You can't get to heaven, have off the ground. Everybody knows almost doesn't count. I can't keep on loving you, one foot outside the door. I hear a funny hesitation, a heart that's never really sure. Can't keep on trying if you're looking for more than all that I could give you, and what you can't get more. When I find me somebody, not afraid to let go. Wanna know that beat that kind of man. You came real close, but every time you build me up, you won't be let me down. Everybody knows, everybody knows. I can't keep on. I hear hesitation, never really sure. No, no, know that I could give you what you can't get. You'll be cold. Maybe you come running back, babe, from the cruel world. Almost convinced me you're gonna stick around, but everybody knows almost doesn't count. So maybe I'll be here, maybe I'll see you around. That's the way it goes. Almost doesn't count. Almost doesn't count. I can't keep on. sweet, like making love on the dance floor. Baby, I've never been like this before. Chocolate coating, waiting for you to adore. You put your hands where you know they don't belong. I roll my eyes, but something says I'll play right along. You touch softly, make me wonder, is there something I should be waiting for? So far you got me falling. I wanna breathe and live your fantasy. So far you've got me falling. I wanna breathe and live your fantasy. So far you've got me, I never felt like this before. Sticky sweet, like making love on the dance floor. Baby, baby, I've never been like this before. Chocolate coating, waiting for you to adore. You put your hands where you know they don't belong. I roll my eyes, but something says I'll play right along. You touch softly, make me wonder, is there something I should be waiting for? So far you've got me falling. I wanna breathe and live your fantasy. So far you've got me falling. I wanna breathe and live your fantasy. So far you've got me. So far you've
Righty ho. Let's get this show on the road. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me? Let me get a little 888 in the chat because eight's number of abundance. A little 888 in the old chat. What's going on? What's good, Ibs? What's good, Tom? What's good, Alex? What is good, Charlie? What's happening? What's happening, Marcia? What's happening, Q? Oh, you know about Wifey D. Come on, man. You know the vibes, bro. That's it. Like, I mean, I don't really listen to music a lot unless I want to pump my state. So like pre-Zoom call, you got to bring the energy. But 90% of the time I'm always listening to personal development. Like, I sent that audio in the chat today. I was with my mentor last week and he recommended me that audio, right? Bob Proctor, You Were Born Rich. Absolutely savage audio. Insane. So with type 4, do you need to break the whole range? Yeah, 100%. And you can flip the whole schematic. But yes, what's good, everyone, man? So Yeah, so what we're gonna do today, obviously we're gonna have no, you can't download the bootcamp, bro, just because it stops people from, like pirating it and sending it around. I have found there's a few people who've been sending around the group chats. I'll find you, I'll take you to court. Straight up, man. But anyway, let's get into it, man. Let's start this on a positive note. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a little trade recap on what happened since obviously Tuesday. Because obviously there's been a lot of developments in the market since Tuesday. There's a trade I'm in now on the euro, which we're going to speak about. Obviously, break down the whole. Of course, bro. Hey, those Jewish lawyers are going to come for those. But yeah, we're going to do a whole breakdown of this euro trade that I'm in now. I've got some lower targets. We're going to explain some of the updates with the entry scanner, and we're going to get into the whole outlook. I mean, we also had the FOMC meeting yesterday, so there's a lot of things to really speak about. Obviously, if you guys have questions, you guys have charts, you're more than welcome to obviously drop that, and you're more than welcome to, ask anything, man. That's really what we're here for. Like these calls are not for me to, to hear the sound of my own voice, right? These calls obviously are for you guys to help you get to that next level. So if there is any questions, any charts you guys want to ask or anything like that, you're more than welcome to. So first thing we're going to do is going to get into the updates with the bot. Then we're going to do a trade recap. Then we're going to get into the economics. Then we're going to do the rest of the outlook and see what other trades we can sort of catch today. So for those obviously who are doing the free trial, or for those who have obviously gone in and joined the group on the WAP, right? We have some new updates on the scanner that we just rolled out yesterday. So now, when you obviously go to add the trade radar, right? There are going to be some really new updates, and it's a lot, in my opinion, it's a lot better. So what I'd recommend you doing is once you've got the trade radar, obviously come to settings. All right, I always just go to style and press this input and status line off, just so it shortens the indicator line. All right, over there. Now, obviously in terms of new updates, there is a lot of a lot of stuff that we've updated. Let me just pull up my notes really quick from the developer, because there is a lot of stuff that we have obviously added now to the old scanner. Now, one of the first things is the update with the stat table and so many more features that can be really customizable to your own obviously style of trading. So what you'll notice is when you obviously add it, you can see now the first settings are like prop mode. So the difference with prop trading is some of the futures like Top Step and some of these firms, they only allow you to like hold trades up until 4 p.m. New York time, or like 9 p.m. 10 p.m. UK time. So if you are doing that, you can obviously press this and it will just close out the trades at that time. If you only want one filter on the trade, like you, because obviously the scanner can call buys, sells, it can call multiple trades. You can have a feature so it only calls one trade at a time if you want. You can obviously choose it to skip the New York Open candle if you want, because obviously a lot of the time there's a lot of manipulation around that candle. And now what you can do is you can specifically just look for both signals, buys or sells. What I would recommend you doing is obviously going through the laws of Wyckoff, right? Analyzing your trends, understanding if supply or demand's in control. And of course, if you think that sellers are in control, just filter out for sells. If buyers are in control, just filter out for buys. If you're unsure, why the fuck are you trading in the first place? Let's be honest here. So for example, like on the euro today, right? I was obviously bearish because of what was looking at on the dollar, which I'll recap in a moment. So I was only looking at those signals on obviously euro, and it did call a beautiful entry earlier. I refined it, which again we're going to speak about later as well. So now you can change obviously that. Now you can obviously for the back test, now for the stat table, right? We'll come back to this in a moment, but if you scroll down, all the way down, level style, I'd always recommend changing the entry from white to black, just so it's a bit clearer on the chart when you do want to obviously when you do want to see it. Now, if you scroll down as well and you want to see the stat table, if you come down here, stat table, there's different modes now. So you can turn it off completely. I normally just turn it off. I really couldn't care less about the stat table because I'm not taking every trade that the scanner calls. I'm applying my trading plan to it. I'm just using this for the entry confirmation, so there's no need to hesitate. Right? I know a lot of you have been messaging me. You've been saying that you're struggling with hesitation, and obviously now you don't hesitate anymore because the scanner fucking tells you when to enter, where to put your stop losses, where to put your TPs. Now, again, you can, if you want to see the stat table, you can now have the compact version, which is nice and small. You can have a full version, which is slightly larger. All right. You can have, and you can see obviously it shows you like now we have free take profits you can use. It shows the different types of setups. And also you can have a really detailed one where it goes into a lot more detail. You can also change the detail and filter it by direction. So like you could see, oh, just buys or just sells. You could do just days. So you can see the statistics on that time frame, on that data feed of just certain days. Of course, if you're taking every trade that it calls. Obviously, or in terms of risk as well. So when I say risk, like in terms of risk to reward, what's the biggest risk reward it caught, the smallest risk reward it caught. Obviously, when you go to the risk factor, that will change depending on here with your targets because here you can set what you want TP1 to be. If you want TP1 to be a 1-to-1, right? For me, I normally have this as a 1-to-2, break even normally are like around a 1-to-5, 1-to-1.5, TP2 around a 1-to-6, and TP3 now around a 1-to-10. But like for me, again, I don't blindly just take these. I mean, you can. Or I always like to base my targets on the chart. But anyway, we'll come back to that. But yeah, you can see obviously the stat table's got a lot more detail on it now. And you can obviously, make it compact if you want. You can change it just for today, just for this week, right? Or if you scroll back up to the top, right, in the back test mode, you can have different settings now. So like live only is from the time you've enabled it, it's only going to show trades that you're now taking. So it's going to have like your track record built in for it. Obviously, if you just want signals from today, you can see what it called today, or yesterday, or this week, or the last 7 days, custom or max, depending on your obviously trade of your data package. Or of course, if you really want, right, you can come in and you can actually specifically change the times to it. We've now included different trading days. So a few people was asking for the weekend trading for like crypto. So obviously, if you want to trade weekends, you can now turn them on. Now for trade windows. Now before we had like a checkbox of just different sessions. But what we've done now is we've actually allowed you to put your specific time zone on there. So like, let's say you're based in, London, right? You can now put your trading windows that you like to specifically trade. Like let's say, for example, I don't know, someone out in London, you only want to trade from like Frankfurt Open, I don't know, till well, our trading windows that allow us to trade up to like 8 p.m. But 8 p.m., which would be like 20 hours. You can make it custom. If you don't want to have it like custom like that, you can just turn off custom windows and it will just spit. And obviously, there's a little information thing. It will just spit trades 24 hours a day, any sort of single session. Again, for me, how I use these features and these settings is I just use it for preferences, right? Because I'm not like, again, I'm not going to take every single trade. I'm going to have my plan, have the sessions that I want to trade. So like euro, UK 100, pound, right? Gold, silver, these things I can trade during London versus like US, and I can trade them during New York session too. But obviously something like US indices like Nasdaq, S&P 500, US 30, right? Obviously, you only really going to want to trade them during New York. But obviously, if you have the filter on, like let's say for example, here the custom windows, if you have this on, it's only going to show you the trades in that time zone and in that window that you've chosen. Again, I just leave it unchecked personally because like even though I might get like trades from Asia, London, whatever, obviously it's going to affect the stat table. But I don't really care about the stat table. Again, I'm not really taking absolutely everything it's necessarily calling. Um, Other features, how else have we added? Right. Oh, now you can track multiple. This is really fucking good. So before, obviously, you had like if you wanted to track multiple markets and have indicators like let's say, on Nasdaq and the micro Nasdaq and Nas 100 or different brokers, you had to set the indicator up and set different alerts. Now you have a tracking table if you want to enable this. You can also have another little where come on, pop up here. It should pop up. There you go, down here, right? Now you've got a tracking, it will track different markets so that you can come in and you can choose, all right, maybe I want to track NASDAQ. Maybe I want to track the mini NASDAQs as well. Maybe I also want to track US 100, which is the same thing, just a different broker, right? And obviously you can come in, you can choose the time frames that you want to um, track them on as well. Now I normally just turn it off. I mean, but you can track it as well if you want. Um, Let me double check my notes. What else what other new features we added on it? But as you can tell, there is a lot of updates to this, which has made it a lot better in my opinion as well. Obviously, TP3 settings, obviously a lot cleaner layout, and yeah, normally the alert should just start firing automatically if you do have it on. So that's pretty much the new updates. I don't know if anyone's got any questions about those. Obviously, I'll show you guys in a moment how I use this feature for actual trading in a moment. Should we remove it and add it again for no? So if you don't have the new updates, up here there will be a little purple refresh button that you can refresh it, or you can just delete it and add it again. Like if you're in the WAP, obviously you're going to have access that you'll be invited to obviously have the scanner as well. Otherwise, there'll be like a little purple refresh feature here, and you can just refresh it. If we are using the scanner to eliminate hesitation, aren't we neglecting the part of our trading psychology? Well, you're evolving, bro. Like you're using AI. That's the whole point. Like when it comes to institutions, right? And just being like in life, all sort of success rises and falls on leverage, right? Like a lot of people are stuck in this 9 to 5 mindset, which is I need to work really hard. I need to work hard. No, people who work hard don't make a lot of money. That's why binman construction workers maybe make what 20, 30, 40 grand a year. But when it comes to CEOs, they make millions of dollars a year because they understand leverage. CEOs are not the hardest workers in the room. What do? CEOs use systems, right? What does system mean? Save yourself time, energy, and money. So if there's tools that are available to you, they're going to help you make more money and solve that problem of hesitation for you. My thing is, why would I not use it? Why would I not use tools in front of me? Oh, because maybe you want to have your ego and you want to do it yourself. Hey, be my guest, do it. But for me, what I've realized in life, it's all about trying to save myself time, energy, and money. And again, what is the point of trading? To make money, you know? But regardless of even if you have this, you just got to look at it like another layer of confirmation. So let's say, for example, you go into the chart and you're applying your trading plan, right? Obviously, stick to rules. Only enter one trade at a time. Take a maximum amount of losses per day. Only trade it when it comes into yeah, bro. A lot of like even myself, bro. Like forget like trading for a second. Like even in the gym, right? I had this massive ego. I've been going to the gym for like fucking 8, 10 years, bro. But I've never had a good body. Right now, I'm getting a little bit better. Definitely if you saw my Instagram story today, right? Little flex, right? But why did I've been to the gym for 8 years and never had any good results? Because of my ego, right? I can do it myself. I don't need a coach. I don't need a mentor. I don't need a personal trainer. Well, that's why I was fat, or I was kind of chubby, or I was really skinny. There was no other there was no other thing, right? But then when I actually dropped my ego and used tools and things that are in front of me, that was when I started to lose body fat and actually put on more muscle. So yeah, man, you just got to think of it like, the illiterate of the 21st century isn't those who can't read or write anymore. It's those who can't learn, unlearn, and relearn ways of doing things. It's like, for example, going back 26 years ago to 2000, right? I mean, most of us probably weren't even alive then, right? In 2000, think of how many skeptics there were about the internet. What did the skeptics do? Oh, I don't need the internet. And now, how many traditional businesses have been wiped out and fallen behind because they haven't adopted the internet? Crypto. How many like ignorant people with their ego did not want to buy Bitcoin when it was at 3,000, 1,000, $100? Oh, they doubted it. It was their ego talking. Oh, I want a traditional way of finance. So now when AI is coming into trading and algorithms, right? People's ego does the same thing because what they actually experience is something called cognitive dissonance, which cognitive dissonance basically means it's like a psychological discomfort you start to feel when your beliefs, your actions, your values start contradicting. Like let's say, for example, you've had this belief of, oh, I want to be able to do it myself. And a tool that comes in front of you is there to help you. People start rejecting that because they feel threatened. So a lot of the time, man, it's just about like evolving and adapting. Now, obviously, do you have to use it? No. But again, I've been trading now for 10 years, full time 7. And these last few weeks, bro, my trading has been so much easier because it removes most of the fucking thinking. Now, obviously, you still have to, apply, the law of supply and demand, right? You still got to do trends. I'll show you how I use it, but it removes a lot of thinking and gives you that extra boost, that extra confidence. Again, like you got two options. You can do it without it, which is going to take fucking years of practice, thousands of hours, thousands of dollars blown. Yes, having the mentor helps, and yes, it shortens your learning journey. Or you can utilize tools, you can utilize technology, which is evolving, and you can use that to shorten your learning journey. Because what's going to happen when you start using the scanner, right? I'm not saying you to blindly close your eyes and take every fucking thing the thing calls. No, no, that's stupid. Don't do that, right? What you do is, for example, here I'll show you how I personally use it, right? So let's say, for example, with the euro trade today, right? Obviously, I had a bias on, so we'll go on, sort of replay it back to when it called the entry. Yeah, I never really use the stat table, so I'll just turn that off. All right. So Euro, now obviously I have notifications. So when you come up here to the trade radar, you go more, you can add an alert to it so you get notified when an entry is ready. So for me, am I just gonna, blindly take every fucking thing it calls? Like for example, over here it's calling a random short. No. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna take everything that I want to. And there's a free trial, bro. If you want it, you can just go here. Um, yeah. And after that, it's 149 a month. And then we're going to drop up the prices back to 300 a month. And then by the end of the year, we're going to be raising the prices. So it's going to be in the thousands because obviously we just launched it. We're still testing it, still getting it better. Yeah. So, and obviously you can see all the track records on it. But how I use it, right, is again, I don't just blindly take every trade. So, for example, if you guys remember on Tuesday, where was we on Tuesday? 1 second. Kaiser. Yeah. 1 second. I was just eating the sofa in my office. All right. So remember on Tuesday, right? Where was we? We were sitting somewhere here, right? And we said, all right, cool. What we're going to look for on the DXY is potential buys, right? We're going to keep you said I would recommend locking yourself in now. You'll save a lot of money in the long run. You're 100% you would. Because again, prices, we're going to put them back up to 300 a month. Then we're going to be charging 500 a month, eventually 1,000 a month. And then eventually it's going to be minimum at least 10 to 50K to lock in. Because obviously the next thing we're going to do with it is we're going to launch a hedge fund. And obviously once we launch our hedge fund, it's not going to be available to just buy it and use it on a monthly basis. At that point, we're going to take it off the market and then we're going to make it so you can invest with us and get the return. But obviously on Tuesday, right, with dollar, what was we seeing? We were seeing, okay, it was an uptrend, right? We had our economics that supported our bullish bias. We started seeing inflation come higher, right? Obviously, if we speak about the Fed, right, we'll speak about the Fed again in a moment. But the Fed are pretty much talking about potential rate hikes soon, and they're definitely not talking about rate cuts. So obviously on Tuesday, we're saying, all right, play some lower time frame market cycles up to the highs. And then once it does, wait for the larger reaccum to mitigate. So obviously throughout the week, we built that larger reaccumulation. And then obviously yesterday, we came and mitigated the 80% of that reaccumulation, right? So when we came in to mitigate that 80% reaccumulation, of course, right, I can now go on Euro USD and start looking for sales. In terms of the dollar, what the dollar started to do, we had that sort of lunchtime reversal where, again, like after New York session, we can potentially reverse. Came in, it built a type 4 accumulation. So we look into this. Right, comes in, built that type 4, 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive, 4 drive, and then gave what we call a terminal shakeout. So sometimes your springs and your UTADs won't always be super clean, right? It can just be like a giant fuck off like this, right? And obviously throughout the rest of late New York and Asia, we started to accumulate. So once we started giving that, this was confusing for me yesterday. Oh, what, the price action or what? Yeah. So okay, like what, the lower time frame or the higher time frame, bro? So higher time frame. Remember, higher time frame is more important, right? You got to define your legs. So this is our higher time frame, right? And our line in the sand's down here. So as long as this line in the sand doesn't break, you stay bullish and you're looking for these highs to get taken. So now when you go to the low, but again, like you're focusing on the wrong thing, bro, right? It's not about melting, right? That's not a melt. You have to, because what did it do? Again, focus on the laws of Wyckoff, right? The laws of supply and demand, right? Who's in control? You look at this chart, right? Demand's in control. And then again, you validate that by asking the next law, the law of cause and effect, right? What did that do? So if you're saying, "Oh my God, right, it's melting, there's sellers," all right, cool. Let's entertain that. What did your sellers accomplish when you're sitting here, right? What did your sellers accomplish? What did they do? What did they actually do? Did they break demand? Did they invalidate our area of demand down here? Exactly, not much. That's the key. He didn't do anything, right? If someone's preaching about, they're being your best friend, okay, well, what have you done for me to be my best friend? Have you been there for me in my times of need? Blah, blah, blah. No, you're not my best friend. Same thing in the markets, right? If sellers are in control or buyers are in control, what did they do? Right, okay, it's melting, it's melting. Well, okay, have we invalidated demand? No. That's why you have a line in the sand. Because until this low is broken, only then do you become bearish. So when it comes into it, right, there wasn't really much to necessarily do at that point. And of course, she eventually comes and she starts to break out. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we did see a lot of volume. You have to look at dollar futures on the volume. Right? If I'm not mistaken, where was it? Yeah, we had beautiful. Go away. All right, we had beautiful volume absorption come in as well. Absolutely insane amount of volume. All right, again, what's volume absorption? When the market's selling off, volume spikes, then you start seeing that reversal. So from there, right, when we started going on a lower time frame, for me, there wasn't much to necessarily do up until this morning. Because what did we see this morning? Right. And this is where we was during London today. Right. So we obviously had that massive sign of strength. And obviously we're now bullish from this low, right, of our leg. So when price returned back to the spring of our schematic, right? Obviously, this is our spring of our type 4. There was a type 4 accumulation here. And comes into the 50%. Obviously, that's now where, we can start looking for our trades. And for me, what I did to just simplify my life. And again, people some people, again, they experience cognitive dissonance. They start hating when they see things that are made easy. Right? Why has it got to be easy? Who said success has got to be hard? Right? The 50-minute, beautiful, wait for it. Turn my scanner back on. The 15-minute called a beautiful absorption entry. Now, obviously, if you can see where with the entry and the stop loss was pretty big. I didn't really want to take that, to be honest with you. I mean, it could have, but I didn't really want to really take that. So what I did is I scaled into a lower time frame. Now, when I scaled into a lower time frame, again, it's a little bit unclear on here, but what made me say, "Hey, cool, I want to take this entry"? Well, again, let's go through our trading plan, right? The whole purpose of our trading plan, the manual one, all the validation criteria, is to answer these three questions: the law of supply and demand, the law of cause and effect, and then the law of effort and result, right? Remember, what does the AI do? The scanner solves this problem for you. It answers the law of effort and result, and that's for your entries. So and again, the Euro futures chart looked a bit ugly, but we'll just go on the DXY for this. Because we saw that absorption, what's absorption? Absorption is a lot of effort, a lot of energy coming into the market. Now, could this have been a larger schematic? 100% it could have. It could have been a 1, 2, 3. We could have been that. 100% it could have. But why would they not? Let me ask you guys this. I'll see some questions. I'll go through them in a moment. But why would they not create a larger schematic? What is the only reason institutions build schematics? The only reason an institution builds a schematic is exactly to fill orders. Good job, right? So the point is when you see absorption, that's showing you they don't need to spend loads of time filling orders because the volume is confirming the buyers come into the market, right? So when we had that, and obviously we go on dollar futures, right? We saw that shit ton of absorption on the higher time frame, right? And then when we go on euro futures, obviously AI called absorption as well. So, and again, from a lower time frame perspective, right? DXY looks a bit clearer. All right. I like that this was a lower time frame reaccumulation as well. Distro, small manip, followed by a break. Now, again, could this have been a larger schematic? 100%. Would I have played this without the scanner calling the absorption or without the volume? No, I would not have played that. But this is the point of AI because AI will spot things that you can't spot, right? That's why, we look at every institution in the world, institutions don't manually trade. Like people think JP Morgan, people sit there and manually fucking trade. No, it's 100% done algorithmically. It's all AI, right? So the point is the scanners can spot things you can't. Now, obviously, in terms of doing it without a scanner, well, how do you do that? Well, you see a distro minute break, right? You come into your demand and you need to see the volume absorption, which was on euro. Now, obviously, if you're not looking at volume, you would have needed, this, and that, and you would have missed a trade. Nothing wrong with missing a trade. It comes down to personal preference. But lining up this same price action here, again, the euro futures chart's a bit ugly. This was my, what's the word? Redistro on euro. So I decided to play into that. And then we play it out. She then obviously then begins to start, giving us that sell-off throughout the rest of the session. Obviously I'll go through what we're gonna look for today. So in a type 4, how do you validate the drive? So with drive, now again, I wasn't take well, if we go back to dollar, I wasn't taking a limit off that, bro. Yeah, I wasn't taking a limit off that. There was no limit to take off that. Off this larger type 4 over here when it first come into the POI, not the little micro one we played. And if you really want to deep it, that's your larger pullback than your prior pullback. Very small, but so since we're more in a hawkish environment, are these the same fundamentals that impact metals? They can impact metals. It's a very similar way, bro. It can. Metals can be a bit of a wild card. Sometimes they can be like, sometimes they can switch between like risk assets and non-risk assets. Sometimes they can switch between safe havens. It really just depends on the environment at the time. With metal specifically, I normally focus on what the Fed's doing as well because they are normally paired against the dollar as well. And one thing for me with like metals specifically, again, we'll come back to the dollar and euro in a moment. But one thing for me with metals is you got to realize what are metals used for. Metals are not just used for stores of value. Again, like a lot of people don't understand this. And this is why I decide for economics focus also on what the Fed's doing as well, because metals aren't just used for stores of value, right? Metals, gold and silver, are used in every piece of technology you ever use. My iPhone, your iPhone, this microphone, this camera, the screen you're fucking looking at us on. Metals are used inside of that. So the point is, yeah, metals are used for everything, and like the point is, if like for example, we're going to that risk off environment and people don't have money because inflation's going up, rates are being hiked, people are not going to be in a situation to go out and spend, are they? So people are not spending, why would the price of metals go higher? If that makes sense. I think this coupled with the FOMC meeting just made me question myself, and I should have trusted the rule set. Yeah, bro. And now this is how emotions affect you, right? So, for example, in that scenario, you've got a plan down, right? So this is now where you have to focus on regulating yourself, calming yourself down, and zooming out and thinking, well, what do I know? For example, on euro, we're in supply, higher time frame. I'm in this bearish leg. I don't care what this fucking does. What the fuck is that? I care about my leg. That's why when you go to the chart and you're doing your price cycles, you gotta, distro, redistro, define your line in the sand, do your higher time frame analysis, and build a narrative. Right? Your narrative is your story. Answer those three questions before you take a trade. Right? The law of supply and demand. Who's in control? Right? The law of cause and effect. Right? What did supply or demand do? And then the law of effort and result, right? This is obviously going into your lower time frame validation criteria, looking at volume and obviously using, the scanner to help you with that as well. Like that's why I use the scanner because it just fucking makes my life easier with that. Um, but yeah, so like in the time like that, bro, when like, things are moving fast, there's big candlesticks going on the chart, that's when probably your emotions start kicking in. All right. So in that case, that's when you got to start regulating yourself and go back to what your initial bias was. So if you don't, if you can't regulate those emotions at that time, you're just going to get absolutely fucked. I still think we can come to these lows though in euro. How comes you only fib the spring again? Uh, on the dollar. So you only fib the manipulation because that is, well, I mean, you can fib the whole range if you want. If you want to fib the whole range, you can. Yeah. But I always fib the manipulations because that's the cause, right? Like let's say someone gets sick. If someone's sick in real life, that's the effect. I don't care that someone's sick. I care about the cause. What caused me being sick? Oh, maybe you shared a drink with someone. Maybe you kissed someone you shouldn't have. Right? That's the cause. The effect is you be sick. So everyone's like, oh, why am I sick? No, no, no. Look at the cause. Same thing with trading. I don't care that the market's gone up or down. I care what caused that. And obviously, if the market's shot up, right, what caused that shoot up is that manipulation to the way down. Nvidia earnings coming out and decent, oil falling. Do you think US equities have what? A chance of being bullish? And we'll get into them in a minute, bro. We'll do a proper outlook on indices. I mean, there's always a chance. Those things are only designed to go higher. I think, well, when it comes to the economics of US indices, the biggest thing is we know that inflation's going higher, the Fed are going kind of hawkish, but what's really gonna put the nail in the coffin is gonna be NFP and inflation going into next month. And I think we have a FOMC meeting next month as well with a rate decision. Because obviously right now the Fed are looking at what's kind of inflation, and the recent inflation reading was the first time we started to see things actually get a bit scary. That prices are starting to rise, like what happened after COVID, and we went in that bear market. Right now, we're starting to see it tick up slightly. So the biggest question to the Fed is: are we going to see inflation sustain going higher or not? That's the biggest thing. So that's a small Q on DXY. Well, bro, I think you asked me this a few minutes ago. What part, bro? Q? What part are you referring to, brother? What time frame micro Q? In here? So because of the absorption, yeah. So yeah, so the only reason I decided to play it was because of the absorption and the scanner called it. Obviously, it still could have done this, bro. It still could have been a larger shakeout. Nah. Yeah, it could have been a larger accum, yeah. And then like especially, seeing it come in and what does it do when it comes inside of here? Start seeing that micro. Then she starts to rally. But yeah, it obviously could have been a larger schematic. It's just remember like that's why volume's so important because the only reason they create those yeah, the scanner did give it, but the only reason they create those springs and those UTADs is because they need to fill orders. So yeah, it's valid on wire. Spring doesn't always happen. Yeah, that's isn't that what we just said, bro? Right? The only reason they create a spring is because they need to, if they need to fill orders, right? Like the only reason the market goes up or down is because orders need to get filled, right? That's a law of the market. It's like the market, if there's no orders being filled, the market won't move, right? So the whole point of them creating these ranges is to fill orders. So at different price points, right? There's different amounts of orders at different price points. So let's say, here, there's, I don't know, 10,000 orders, 100,000 orders, 500,000 orders, a million orders, right? If they needed, for example, 400,000 orders to send the market higher, and they can get all 400,000 orders filled at these price points, of course, they're not going to create a spring, 100%. But most of the time, if there's no volume, they will because they need to fill orders at a different price point. So yeah, that's the only reason they will create a manipulation is if they need to fill orders. Like that's why I don't subscribe to like smart money concepts because so what does smart money say? Oh, it has to take liquidity. No, it doesn't. It has to sweep Asia high. No, it doesn't. Right? No, it doesn't. The only thing that's true in the world of trading is an institution needs to fill orders. That's it. All right, for the price to move, they need to fill orders. YM. Off that, I think that is super aggressive, bro. I would definitely not be trading that. One, you're not even in the New York Stock Exchange open, and two, you have no weakness on this chart, bro. Like, I'd want to see this thing, start selling off, redistributing, and then yeah, maybe. So in terms of manual, it's best to wait for, yeah, I mean, you got to follow your trading plan, right? That's how you take a trade. If you don't have your plan, you don't take a trade. So for me, like with how I'm using my trading plan now is, I'm using the scanner to identify POIs, well, identify POIs, and if the scanner comes in and it calls something, I'm going to take a trade. Or if I see something manually, which the scanner's going to call out anyway, I'll take it if it accums or reaccums. But again, that's why I'm honestly I've been focusing on this so much recently because it just saved me all that time. Gold, yeah, we'll get into gold, brother. Like so again with the different like entries, right? You've got to remember. So catching a bottom is always harder than catching a continuation, right? Like if let's say there's a fucking train coming towards you, is it harder to stop that train in its tracks or harder to make it go a little bit faster? It's harder to stop it, right? Because you've got to stop all that momentum. So with trading, you always want to really be playing continuations. That's what makes it a lot easier, Because obviously think about it, like when the market's selling off, if you're just trying to catch a falling knife, you're gonna lose most of the time, right? That's why, you wait for it to accumulate or play the reaccum. Of course, if you have your volume, you can come in and you can play those springs, etc. But yeah, playing continuations is always better than trying to play a reversal, bro. You'll have a lot more success playing continuations than you will just trying to always pick tops. Like for example, all right, if I'm sitting here, right? Wait, I'm sitting here. Like, how many times would we have had to try and short to catch that top? One, two, three, four, Okay, but I don't want to catch the top. Or I just wait for it to come into demand and play a continuation higher, you know? And again, like even trying to, buy here, like I'm not going to catch that falling knife, right? I'm going to wait for the market to start turning around like a car, right? Like you see, when I took my entry, it was here. The market turned around. I'm not trading when it's going here. Like you look here. Oh, I'm not. I mean, I'm bullish, yeah, but I'm not buying here because the market's just fucking falling straight to the ground. But when we now start, time passing, opinions forming, we then start to turn around and we come into like here, right? Now we're playing a continuation. We've come into demand. We've got higher time frame bullish. Lower time frame was bearish, but now lower time frame goes bullish. So we've got two time frames in that direction, and we can now play that continuation to the upside. That's what makes it easier. That's what boosts your win rate. Because the reason why so many people lose, right, is like, for example, like the ICT stuff, where they're like, wait for price to sweep a high. All right. Like, how many times are you gonna fucking lose? Wait for price to sweep a high, invert fair value gap. Short, no. Like, you're gonna. How many times are you gonna fucking lose when you do that? Like for example here, how many times is it swept a low and you try and buy it, lose? Sweep a low, try and buy it, lose. Sweep a low, try and buy it, lose. One attempt, two attempt, three attempt, four, five attempts, and the sixth one worked. Like, fuck that. All right. All right. I'm gonna wait for the market to come in and turn around. I'm just gonna get on the bus that's already going. Well, I don't like buses, but you get the point. All right. So with like, so we got what you got to realize, bro, is SMC. Like, okay, let's get clear on it, right? How many years has SMC been around? Right, ICT stuff. Let's look. When did ICT launch his YouTube channel? Right, he launched his channel on 2012, right? And what does ICT say in his bio, right? He says, I created Wyckoff. Sir, sir, you created Wyckoff. Mate, Wyckoff was born in 1873. What do you mean? What do you mean? So the point is, right, SMC is a small subsection of Wyckoff. SMC, understanding an order block, is understanding the spring of a Wyckoff accumulation. So Wyckoff is basically all of the missing pieces that don't make people profitable. It's like for example, just having a piece of the strategy. But like, okay, imagine we get a book, right? And we just open page 76 and you read one page. You're not going to have a clue what's going on. Or you watch a movie and you just go straight to minute 72. What the hell just happened? Versus when you watch the movie from start to finish, you understand the context and the bigger picture. That's the difference between Wyckoff and SMC, is you understand the bigger picture because this is the source of where it came from. It's just ICT's just got a cult following because he claimed he invented it. But like, listen, if ICT shows me his date of birth, which is beyond Wyckoff in 1871 or 1869, yeah, man, you created that shit. So does that make sense? He's going through your old charts from 2019. You're trying to buy reversals. Yeah, man, you're gonna get smacked. So, if we sort of go back to economics now and what happened with the FOMC meeting minutes, what did you guys learn from FOMC yesterday? Well, obviously this was last month's meeting, but what did you guys sort of pick up from that? Who did their homework? Pips of Persia? Oh, I haven't even showed him my scanner yet. If I show him the scanner, he might come back, but I don't think he's coming back. He's alive, but I don't think he's coming back. Right, so potential rate hikes. Hawkishly cautious? That's a bar. Hamza, you got the bar there. They're aware that inflation might be a problem, definitely. Changing the dot plot. Yeah, they already changed the dot plot. Um, no cutting, not cutting rates. Right. So yeah, I mean the Fed have basically said, look, yeah, we're not cutting rates anymore. Initially they was leaning towards cutting rates and a softer Fed language, but these minutes really suggest that these cuts are probably going to be delayed. Hikes are still possible, and it's proven that inflation is still kind of stubborn. That's why we're seeing a stronger dollar at the moment. And we even can get into more economics, right? We can actually look into US dollar index, right? We can see institutions are long on the dollar right now. They have over 18, more than this number, this times by 1,000, but 18,912 orders times 1,000, right? So they're bullish. So now we go on the chart, we can confirm that they're bullish, right? We can see that they've come into demand, right? They've accumulated, and obviously this is going to affect all your indices, your metals, cryptos, etc. Right? And they accumulated. Now the question is, are we going to come back to some lower demand and sustain bullish price action? Of course, we don't know if they're just, they can, could economics change and the inflation readings in the next few weeks? Yeah, it could, and they could just obviously break that. But that's where I let the market confirm it by when it comes into like a zone, right? I let it prove that there's buyers there by accumulating. I'm not just guessing, like when it's coming to I'm not just buying a falling knife, right? I'm waiting to see proof that buyers want to send the market higher. So, we've got a zone down here that price could return to. But for that to happen, it obviously needs to break this lower time frame zone. And of course, we are in this intra-week demand zone, right? This reaccumulation, distributed, manipulated, and then broke to the upside. And of course, we then came back into it and we then shot higher. So for me now, I'm still really looking for continuations on the dollar higher. Obviously now I'd be looking to be buying probably out of this on the dollar. So that means I'll be short in like, the euro and short in, the DXY. So like now if I'm using my scanner, I'd come in and only make sure my scanner looks for sales now. So, I mean, I'm still in that short. Where is it on the futures from up here, which obviously our scanner called. So I'm still in that short. I'm still holding this, for these lows down here. And then we've got potential to be coming a lot lower. We really do have potential to potentially even crack these lows down here on the euro. Now, that's not going to happen today. That's going to happen in the next few weeks if the economics kind of keep, inflation keeps upticking and the Fed remain hawkish and keep wanting to raise interest rates. I am aware that there is some demand here, right? But I'm going to follow the market cycle until it's proven wrong. Unless I see, a break of market cycle and big buyers come in, I'm not going to try and buy this, right? So if we look again on that lower time frame, we can keep seeing that supply is in control. All right. Price just redistributed, came into supply, and is now walking lower. So what I'm really looking for, well, I'm in a trade already. Um, I mean, we can see if there's more entries. I mean, that would have been one potentially in there. Oh, that's really happened now. But basically, just keep trying to walk this down on free distros. If maybe we get something like this, we got New York Stock Exchange open soon. Maybe we get something like that. Play some more redistros down to sweep these lows. And then once we sweep those lows, play back up to this manipulation and mitigate maybe the 50 or 80% of it. It's going to be amazing the correlation between DXY and stuff. Yeah, 100%, man. But again, I wouldn't say that dollar and indices correlate one for one. There can be a lot of similar tones, but I wouldn't say they correlate one for one like that. Um, so if we look at the pound's going to be a similar sort of thing. The pound's been calling some shorts. Stocks, like individual stocks, I do buy some. I mean, I want to buy Nike soon if Nike can come into demand. It's really undervalued, but like if in terms of trading, like currencies, indices, is all I really need to day trade. I don't really need to go and trade a million stocks. Like the more is not always more, Oh, there was a signal here on GU too, eh? Now, in terms of GU, like I'm still bearish on this if the dollar remains strength, but there's no weakness on the pound yet. There is really no weakness on this yet. That's the only thing. So I'm probably going to keep away from the pound and just stick to euro and the dollar. And as long as dollar keeps showing strength, I'm going to focus on shorting euro USD down because pound's not doing anything. I don't really like this. And there was a small short I played this morning on it. It went for like a 1 to 4 and then took me out. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, I don't really like what the pound's doing anymore. I really think the euro's moving a lot cleaner. So we can keep trying to play this down. Um, Goldilocks. If dollar remains bullish, we can probably keep trying to short this. So we on Tuesday we obviously said, look, potentially shorts out of here or play out of here. I ended up taking a very small loss on this. I tried to play a short. So I was scalping on my scanner, like in the day. There was a couple buys. I'll show you. There's a couple buys on my scanner I played, but I took a loss on the short. Where was it? It was on the M2. Where was it? Was it on the M2? There's one down here in this spring down here it called during London. It called a small little buy. And then there was another one it called, which was I think it was a very lower time frame. It was down here. And I'll show you the loss I took, and then we'll get into what trades we can take today. And then there was a buy. These TPs are off. Wait there, let me. Oh yeah, these TPs are off with 1 to 5. But there was one, where was it? In here, I played. It's very small scalp off the scanner, absorption, came into 80%, and it called a buy here. Oh, the stop loss. Again, because the thing updated, the stop loss has changed. Right there. There we go. So this was it. A small little buy, little scalp one. And again, this is why I love the scanner. Just have a little POI, boom, come in, scanner calls it, take trade. You know, I played that small scalp during London. And then obviously we had that larger, that was pretty simple. And then again, that was like maybe like a 1 to 5, it wasn't nothing crazy. Just small, quick scalp in and out. And then obviously we then built the larger distro, ended up taking a loss on. So she then built this larger distro. And then I set a limit on this. Um, yeah, I want 1 to 5s. If I'm scalping, bro, I want 1 to 5s. Because like if I'm scalping, bro, I'm in and out the same day, bro. Like this gold trade was you know what I mean, bro? It's 12 minutes. You know what I mean? 20 minutes, bro. Like it's super quick. I can't get a 1 to 10. Oh, you can get 1 to 10s, 1 to 20s, and all that shit, but scalping, bro, like that for me, bigger risk to rewards normally come from bigger positions that I'm holding for a few days. Like for example, you saw my record trade on GBP USD, right? Like this is my record. I've never fucking taken the trade like this before this one. Obviously some of my OGs remember this, but we took this. Oh, is it on this chart? Don't tell me they've deleted it. Where was it? Second. Cut my dog sitting on my sofa in my office, and he's like nibbling the sofa. Where was it? It was like a few years ago, man. Aha! It was back here. All right, this is like my world record trade. Don't tell me it's gone. Yeah, this is my world record trade. It's a 1 to 372 risk to reward. I know some of the OGs who were in the live trading sessions back like 3 years ago. They caught this with me. I know Dylan caught this as well. I don't know if Dylan's here. Shout out to you, Dylan. But how the hell did I get a 1 to 300? Brother, I waited, right? 236 days. 236 days. This is investing at this point. And I think I took like 3 losses to get this trade anyway. Um, yeah, I think I definitely took a few losses. If I remember correctly, I was trying to buy after this. I got smacked in there. And then I think I was trying to buy, yeah, I tried to buy in there. I got smacked in there, and it ended up giving me another refinement in there. I think there was another loss as well somewhere in there. Um, Same way I handle all take profits. Devil's advocate zones, markup supply zones, wait for it to come to supply and pass it out. But again, right, like you see a trade like this, but you don't see the losses I took to get it. I took three losses to get it, and I waited 238 days, and I held it for fucking 300 days. Like that's how you get big risk to reward. You fucking wait a long time. Something like that gold one at 1 to 5, bro. I'm in and out 20 minutes, quick, done. So like you see a trade like this, don't get me wrong, like it's possible to get these things, but you're holding a position like that for a very long time. A lot of people don't have the patience for that. So like quick scalps, like again on gold, that was a small little 1 to 5. And then obviously it built the distro, I tried to play the short, and then I just got yeah, I got smacked. I got smacked hard. Very hard. Smack! And that took me out. Hit stop loss on that. And then again, what do we say, right? This is where you now have to have your bias and your narrative because, am I going to go and cry and go, oh my God, I hit stop loss? No, I don't really care because I've already accounted for the loss. I've decided how much I'm going to risk. And if I lose that, I've already emotionally accepted it. And technically, if you really want to deep it, I mean, is it even a loss? Because you just hit a 1 to 5 before. Anyway, but the biggest thing is even if I hit a stop loss, right? And this is where I think in the group chat, I think someone was like, "Oh yeah, I hit a stop loss, but I didn't take another trade and they missed another entry." Well, sometimes you will take one or two losses before you get the real trade. That's where you now have to know, and this is the answer. You have to know where your line in the sand is, because the difference between revenge trading and taking three, four, five losses is one, your emotional intelligence, and two, knowing where your line in the sand is. Because here I had a line in the sand up here. Right, I knew this is my invalidation point for shorts. So even though I tried to play a small scalp out of here and lost, I'm not just going to throw the whole short idea away because I've got a bigger idea. So now we've come home to supply, we've distributed, and so I'm making sure my dog's not going to destroy the sofa. We might have to kick him out in a minute. Um, and then we come in, we've distributed, and now I want to try and see if we can play some redistros down. So now this is what I'll do. I'll come on my scanner. All right, I'll come in. I'll set some alerts on different time frames. I can come in to these settings now. All right, I can enable my tracking table. And I can now, for the sake of the call, I'm not going to spend loads of time doing this, but I can go on gold. All right, I can add gold in, or maybe the futures would be better. All right, I can add gold on the 5 minute, set an alert on that, and start tracking that. So if it gives a signal on the 5 minute when it comes up to supply, I'll be notified and I won't miss it. But yeah, I want to definitely see if we can maybe get some shorts on gold or play some redistros down now. And then we look at silver. Why do most traders who earn millions are on stocks, not forex or futures, except those in the prop firms? It's personal preference. There's really no difference. Like, if you closed the screen, right, and you didn't know what market this was, you have no difference between knowing what trading Nike. This is oh God, right? This is an accumulation. Oh God, you know what I mean? There's no difference. Margin. Buy like there's no difference. Between trading this and trading like a market. Now I like futures because futures is more regulated, but yeah, I mean it's just personal preference really. And I'd always be wary of anyone telling you they earn millions and billions. Not saying it's possible, like you can obviously make a shit ton of money here, but anyone who's normally telling you and showing you how much money they made, not true. You know, like you know, I saw the video earlier, bro. It cracked me up. Yeah, and some guy. It's a bit raw, so if you if you're a bit sensitive, mute me for a minute. But someone was like, you don't go to. And he goes, you don't go to a strip club and look at the biggest tits in there and go, wow, these are the biggest tits I've ever seen. No, like they're fake. You get it. It's a stripper. you know? So it's the same thing when you see these people flaunting online, like, oh my God, I've made billions and billions. It's fake. Anyone who's shown you all this profit and stuff, one, it's illegal. You know that, right? It's actually illegal for someone to do that. And two, they have bad intentions for you. You know, for me, how for me, how I know if someone's legit is I look at their students and if they've actually got students who've made money. And then can I talk to them? You know, if I can go in and talk, like for example, when I met my mentor, I knew he had people who were profitable because I could speak to them in the groups. So I was like, oh shit, like this guy's legit because he's made it's not him telling me he's made all these millions, you know, or he's showed me a broker statement. All that shit can be faked, right? But what you can't fake is having people whose lives have actually been changed through that person's work, you know? So for example, you know, like again, not trying to toot my own horn, but I will toot it. You know, you come into our group, you can speak to the people who are getting payouts. You know, like if we claim someone's made a payout, like they show you it and it's not obviously it's not fucking me. You know what I mean? Right. Um, yeah. Can I show you gold? Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. The Civ gold can competition manipulation from London. Yesterday's manipulation. Because we tried to accumulate, manipulate, and then break. And I tell you now, right? The worst people are the people who show you, like, you ever seen those people? Oh my God, bro. Like the other day, like I still follow some people from like just the old days, right? And it's just hilarious, man. Like the other day I see someone and they they posted one story, right? And it was like some Louis Vuitton bags, some Dior bags, some Gucci bags, right? And like they posted like you ever seen those like MetaTrader 4 screenshots where it's like, you know, it's like GBP USD and it's like, oh, I made 4 million gazillion dollars and it's blue, like just one slip. And bro, I zoomed in on the bag. The fucking bags were empty, bro. Every bag was empty. I'm like, bruv, what are you doing? And in the next story, he shows, oh, my track record. And it shows you all his profit. And at the bottom, there's no spreads, there's no commissions, and there's no fees, which means it's a demo account. You know what I mean? No withdrawals. It shows it's a demo. So it's just like, you know, people like that, man, you know, who have shown you they've made all this money, they haven't, you know? They just ignore anyone like that. If you want to find someone who's legit, one, can they teach you something and you can take that information and fucking make money with it? If you can, well, maybe it works. And two, if they've got someone who's actually profitable. Yeah, bro, you always need a minimum of two time frames in direction, right? Because like if you think about it, so let's say I'm here, right? Okay, so let's say I'm here, right? I've got one time frame bearish from here, right? Now, when it comes up to the give me 1 second. I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I'll continue this. Give me okay, sorry about that. But yeah, so you always need a minimum of two time frames in the right direction, bro. And again, this is so like when I say minimum of two time frames in your direction, right? Like think about the oh he was nibbling the couch, bro. Bro, like that guy put a hole in my wall, mate. And I was like, this guy. Anyway, so like in terms of plan, right? So let's say you got a point of interest, and say the red is the 5 minute, right? And then we now go into blue, which is the 1 minute, right? When the market's coming back up to your supply zone, the lower time frame is bullish because it's going up to your supply zone. So if I'm selling blindly here, I got one time frame up, one time frame down. I'm guessing. I'm trying to catch a falling knife or jump in front of a train. But when it now distributes and turns around and then starts to redistribute, now my time frame's in direction and it's going to be a lot easier for me to get trades. You know? So like for example, when you're manually trading, that's why I wait for the distro and then the redistro inside my POI. I'm not just setting blind limits on here. Scalp the lower time frame, what, to buy it up? I mean, you can, but now this comes down to like, where are you in your journey? You know, if you're new, would I recommend doing that? Definitely not. You know, like context. You know, like let's say someone like myself who, if I blow a funded account, am I going to care? No, right? Versus, let's say you've only got one funded account and you're trying to pass your first challenge. No, you should not be doing that. You know, um, and it comes down to data, right? It always comes down to data and follow your plan. But for now, I wouldn't recommend doing like counter trend trading. I would just stick to one set. But like again, this is the thing, right? The market's fractal. So if, for example, right, you do want to counter trend, like let's say that gold trade where the scanner called my entry, okay, it reaccumulates, comes in, micros, and then the fucking scanner says buy it. Well, yeah, you know what I mean? I can do that because I've still technically got one time frame, two time frame in my direction. Does that make sense? But obviously now you got to be careful with the shorts. So I'm not going to hold that to the moon. So like now, like on gold, right? Here, am I going to short? Yeah, I'm in a supply zone, but lower time frame, if we look, it's fucking bullish. You know, I'm going to wait for that to turn around. So if I try and like, let's say now I try and short here. Obviously, I'm not, right? But if I try and short there, what's going to happen? Where was it? You know, you're going to get smacked. So you want to wait for those time frames to now flip. So like now, we've got two time frames in our direction. We've drastically increased the probabilities of the market going in our favor. Now, of course, you know, can we still lose? Of course, any trade can lose. But if you now, because it's now take this 1,000 times, you have a higher probability of one outcome happening than the other. Silver, same thing with silver, man. I want to see if I can try and short this down. So got a bit of divergence. Gold's cleaner. Wait for some sort of manipulation. If gold just keeps selling off, we'll try and see if we can follow it down on silver. I'll keep an eye in here. I think it's too early. I'm gonna say gold's leading to the downside. Let's have a look. So yesterday's low at 3 p.m. Yesterday's no. No, silver is. But if you look, right, yesterday's low at 3 p.m.'s here. And yesterday's low on gold's here. So silver's closer to that low. And if you also look here, we're down more on the day on silver than we are on gold. Pound is a little stronger fundamentally. Didn't sell as much. Euro GBP. Yeah, but bro, like, why am I gonna bother looking at Euro GBP? No offense, man. Like, Euro and pound get driven by the dollar, so Euro GBP just does this. You know, like, what move have we missed on Euro GBP in the last 5 years? You know, I mean, I see what you're saying, but like, I mean, like, you know, what the fuck have I missed on Euro GBP? You know, what the hell has this done, bro? Like, you know, we've been sideways for 10 years. You know, I'm not. I don't need to check this. But yeah, let's see. Euro's looking good for the downside. I might have to take some profit in a minute. And then yeah, if smack those lows, I'm gonna wait for it to try to give a pullback and do something like that. We'll see if we can get like another potential measured move on it. but I'm alright for these lows. All right, we can take indices. So I don't know who was trying to short indices earlier. I don't know. I mean, I think it's too aggressive, man, to try and play those shorts. Yeah. I mean, I see the distro on the Dow, but I don't know if there's enough weakness. Haven't swept that high yet. We've got the open in 8 minutes. Probably going to see some sort of manipulation. So there's not much to really do yet. Um, no, bro. If you want all the information for the scanner, you can click the website, bro. There's a free trial for the first 7 days, and then the price is the price. We do pay for referrals, so if you do want to refer people, then eventually you could get your subscription for free. Like if you referred three people, I'd give it to you for free. Um, yeah. So I'm. Let's see what we want to do with these. Um, So we got a larger distro here on ES. We boofed. How can you refer? So on the if you go onto the scanners page, like you actually go onto it on the product page and you scroll all the way down at the bottom, we pay 30% per referral. You scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a link to sign up for the referrals. But yeah. So where are we? So we're bearish on here and Qski. I'm cautious though, these could reaccumulate. There's a lot of volume in that low. These could reaccumulate. Yeah, no worries, brother. Yeah, you can sign up. You'll get a referral link if you go to the bottom of that page, and then um, you can have your referral link. And then obviously, if it all gets tracked, and you just get paid straight to your WAP account. Um, right, so we're accumulating here, but we are coming to supply. Magic scanner, tell me what to do. I'm joking. I just want to see if there's any absorption. Uh, do we have absorption? 4 hours looking heavy. Thing is, it's like it's really hard to do pre-market analysis on indices because like the open changes everything. Because normally at the open you always get like, let's say for example, if it's a bearish day, normally the open will give a fake move at the open and then drop off. Um, I'm noticing we are distributing here. Yeah, I'll definitely play redistros. Same thing on ES. I mean, I think the monetary policy is more important than the earnings because earnings are like, it's what happened in the past, right? Monetary policy is like what's going to happen now in the future. Because if you think about the monetary policy, right? The money policy, if they're going to make it restrictive and they start raising rates, the environment is going to make it harder for people to spend money. People are not going to spend money. So then what's going to happen? If no one's going out buying products that are in the stocks inside of ES, NQ, or YM, the value of them are going to go down, right? Because no one's buying it. Then eventually the earnings will lag and catch up, if that makes sense. So like monetary policy is more like future-based analysis. So we're distributing here. We are distributing on YM. I want to see what the open does, man. We've got a few minutes up until the open. Now, in terms of our weekly cycle, we've been rallying since Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe higher the week if we're gonna sell off. Um, but I just want to be careful on this. So one thing we can start checking some of the stocks inside of it whilst we wait. Do. Right, come on to YM. Nvidia. What is Nvidia doing today? Oh, we said fuck you to that distro, eh? No, Nvidia's still in demand. Yeah, Nvidia could rocket really at the open. Well, pre-market's down. So what else we got? Apple. I mean, honestly, I'm not really too bothered with indices right now. Oh my goodness, Apple's showing some strength. What else we got? Amazon. Amazon's coming into supply, but no signs of sellers yet. Microsoft is gearing up for a reaccum. It might be a bullish day. It's too early, man. It's really too early to tell. Like, for me, when it comes to indices, I like to wait for the market open, because and let the market digest for a good like 30 minutes or so. Because, if we're gonna be bullish, we'd have a sell-off at the open and start to rally, and a lot of volume will come in. You know, if we're gonna short off, we'll rally at the open and then we'll sell off throughout the rest of the session. Like that's normally what they do. If you look, right, for example, yesterday was a bullish day. So what did it do? It sold off at the open and rallied, right? Sold off at the open, rallied, all right? In this case, rallied into the open, sold off. Rallied into the open, sold off. You know? So let's see what we do at the open, man. Mm-mm-mm. I'm noticing this accum though. So we'll see what we do. If we start accumulating in here, yeah, potentially, bro. I mean, that again, like the thing is, when we're higher time frame like this, the best thing to do to really try and short this is let me turn off some of these fucking things. So normally, what I do with the scanners indicator, I always like when I'm in the session, that's when I put my alerts back on. Um, go away, go go away. Um, so we'll see what we're gonna do, man. If we're gonna just want to accumulate down here. No, there's the open. Oh wait. So like right now, I don't have a bias, so I'm not gonna have my alerts on my scanner. You know, it's kind of unclear. If I had a gun to my head, I'd probably be more on the buy side on it. Like, something like Euro, I think is a lot easier on the short side. And that's why I got my alerts on Euro for the shorts. So if I get a notification for my short indicator, then I'll go start selling it. Um, so we're getting a bit of a Rally. Yeah, oh, it's too early, man. There's nothing to really. Yeah, indices have been kind of dry, man. Gold, yeah, gold's been moving nice. Currency been moving nice. Selling off at the open. Maybe might be a bullish day. UK 100. We can look at that. It's kind of went short during London. How am on euro? Let's go down to these lows. Make sure I'm taking partials on euro. All right, let me close out my euro trade. Very nice. All right, close out of this. Let me see what NQs. UK 100, yeah, has bro. Has been accumulating quite nicely. Yeah, it could UK 100 could go up. Oh, that's that low cracked on euro. Now this is where your psychology kicks in because people like they close out a trade and they'll see it drop. They'll be like, "Oh my God, I should have caught the whole move." The whole move. No, you shouldn't have. You should have followed your plan. So we'll see if I want euro and I'll come back up into this. So we could get a pullback on euro. All right, dollars rocketing. Very nice. Very nice indeed. So we'll see if we can get some pullbacks on the dollar once we crack this high. And maybe we'll try and walk these up. Haven't done it. GU wants to be buy? No, sir. I am not buying GU. Well, that's the old. But that's now where you got to make sure when you set your alerts on the bot, you have your filter on the right one. Like for just because now we have just buys or sells, so you only spit out the right ones. Um, uh, uh, uh. What is Utel and gold? Nice, bro. It's gonna hit. Right, NQ's leading. ES might be lagging. Right, wait there. Let me change my settings on this. Wise. Sell off at the open. Maybe rally into the day. And give him a signal. I don't really like indices too much. I called a buyback here actually. Right. Let me delete these alerts on GU. Go away. So the reason why I had alerts on GU on the scanner earlier because I was looking for trades on euro and dollar earlier, but now I'm not. Like I'm going to delete them. So now I want some alerts on like 15 minute on ES, 5 minute on ES. I want it on the 3 minute on ES. I want it on the 1 minute on ES. Potentially, bro. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, if like, what will make me start shorting is if we honestly just start seeing a fat redistro. I don't mind taking one or two losses before the real move. Oh, hello. NQ's spitting some buys. But do we have enough strength for that? What time frame was that? Spitting some buys on the M5. Come on. Come on, ladies. Come on, ladies. No strength on these yet, so don't really want to rush into a buy on this with no strength on the others. Calling two buys. Give me one trade, please. So, I mean, it's calling a buy on NAS. Maybe we can get something on YM if it can call something. Come on, ladies. Come on, ladies. Oh, £1 fish. You guys remember that song? I think only some of my UK, and my UK guys remember that. A lot of volume coming in. And you lot know that song? Very, very good. The £1 fish. Big up, man. We might get something here on YM. As long as, all right. So now this is where like I normally have all my other screens open. So like I like to have YM. I'm gonna have like NQ on this side. And I want to see sustained strength from them all. Come on, ladies. If we are gonna buy, there's no strength here. Just gonna call this. Yeah, it'd be cool. It calls some fucking ultimate springs, man, but I need some strength. And that's where you just gotta filter it. You know, you either blindly just take fucking everything or you filter it. I don't want to blindly take everything. And if you blindly take everything, that's when you gotta trust the stat table more. Um, I don't see enough strength yet. Yeah, if you have a POI, you're gonna have a very you're at 78% win rate. Yeah, 100%. You know, like that's how I use it. You know, a lot of people think, oh, AI should just replace the person. No, you know, like humans and AI go, in my opinion, go hand in hand. You know, if you can use AI with you, it will improve your results massively. Come on. And this is now where, like, you know, as I got my alerts on these time frames in the scanner, you know, this is where you don't have to sit and stare at it. Nasdaq is rallying. Yeah, the Nasdaq 5 minutes rallying. I'm not too bothered though. I already got trade on euro today. We'll see though. I don't mind trying to throw a little bit of risk at something if we get it. But this is the most painful thing you can do is just stare at the chart now. Like, you know, like the only reason I'm still looking at the chart is because I'm on the Zoom, I'm on the call, you know? Like, if you stare at the chart all day, you're just gonna get absolutely fogged. You just set your alerts, build your narrative, and walk away. All right, until we see any sort of anything waking up on these, there's no point staring at it. Anyone else got any other questions? I mean, if I see, Nasdaq rally throughout the session, ES rally, I'll try and follow it up on YM. But like that, what's going on here? It wants to call a buy on YM, but I don't see strength on ES yet. Or NQ. You gotta go. All right, bro, take care. Are we microing down here? We're trying to. Come on, ladies. Anyone got any questions? Anyone else looking at any markets? Want me to check any charts? Is this set up here? What's the buffer? Go scanner. Go, go, Power Rangers. Iron gold. We're looking at gold. Called that gold, but it called a spring on gold, I think, on the 3 minute. It did. Oh, it'd be an A. Oh, god damn. Do I want to play the spring on that? Not necessarily. Come on, ladies. Come on, ladies. Cool. I don't think I'm just gonna sit here and stare at this. If NQ keeps showing strength, we can walk it up on YM. I mean, where are we to the left? I've seen a lot of strength. Not quite in there. A lot of volume coming in. You have a sell-off at the open. Normally on bullish days, you sell off and then rally. Or rally and then sell off if it's bearish. But yeah, we haven't got no strength on indices, man. So there's not really point of doing too much. I think that's trying to mitigate that. It's microing, boofing. We got volume. This could be absorption play. NQ's starting to go. The question is NQ going to stick? Like, if NQ and ES start rallying, like, this would be a prime entry in here. But we don't have enough rallying yet. And so, anyone have questions? If not, then we can probably just call it a day. I mean, I don't mind just chilling there for a bit. We can see what the scanner does. I need to go get another meal in. Well, scanner entry go burr. NQ's waking up a little bit, but nothing crazy. The diet. Appreciate you, bro. So I've actually lost a lot of weight, man. I'm down since January, bro. I'm down like 11 kilograms, something like that. But it's just the macros, bro. I'm hitting let me ask my I got a coach in it, so he gives me a meal plan, gives me training plans. you know? But where are we? So let me ask my chat. I'll plug it all into ChatGPT, but yeah, I got a fat meal plan, man. So like it's all about your macros. Your macros determine what you look like, and the calories determine how heavy you weigh. So once let me ChatGPT. What are my macro goals? But shit, bro, I eat a lot. Like even though I'm on a cut, like I'm eating a lot. And that's what people don't really realize. Like if you're trying to lose weight, you still got to eat a lot, but you still got to get the macros right. Oh, scanner go brr. Scanner printing, eh? But like, still waiting for this to load. But like, I think I'm eating around like 2,200 calories, 2,500 calories roughly. Um, Protein around like 250 to 262 grams, 218 grams of carbs, and 57 grams um of fat. So you'll get all the macros. What am I eating for protein? So breakfast, I'll normally have like maybe 200, 250 grams of Greek yogurt with a scoop of whey protein, 10 grams of creatine, maybe 100 grams of berries or like frozen mango or something, 50 grams of oats, or, like 5% fat uh, ground beef, chicken breasts, salmon, whitefish, eggs sometimes. So normally just, yeah, man. Just smashing it. Like that's it. You gotta hit the protein goals and the carb goals. Like don't neglect the carbs. Now a lot of people think carbs will make you fat, and then the carbs will give you energy. Carbs are very good. Carbs will make you look more full. So on average, I'm around like a 500 calorie deficit a day. So normally one of my weightlifting sessions burns around like 1,000 calories on average. Normally. Like I normally weight train for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'll normally do 10,000 steps a day. Um, I mean, I have one of those Apple Watches. I mean, it's not super accurate, but um, yeah, like normally around like 500 grams, 500 calorie deficit on average. Sometimes it's more. Obviously depends on my output. It can be a lot more, but yeah, normally burn like through weightlifting like an hour and a half, 2 hours session. And I do like push pull legs. So like back day, well, like yeah, push pull legs and then abs every day as well. Like nothing too crazy. And then I normally do like quite a lot of walking, walk my dog, maybe like 30 minutes. Well, no, 30 minutes in the morning normally, and then two 15s throughout the day. Um, well, this scanner won't be on YM. But yeah, man, like yeah, carbs are good. And like I think the biggest thing, bro, is like if it depends what your goals are, man. It really depends what your goals are. Like for me, it was just to get lean, to lean up whilst maintaining muscle and trying to grow muscle, which again just comes down to being in a calorie deficit, but hitting those protein goals. Um, so yeah, I'm not a personal trainer, bro. Like I just went to the gym, found the biggest motherfucker in the gym. And I do this in every gym, bro. I find the biggest person there is and just ask them, just talk to them. Like, bro, how the fuck do I get like you? Oh, well, that's a TP1 apparently on US 30. Scanner be going crazy. It's that YM's is the YM bleeding on the lower time frame now? Yes, it's still accumulating too. Um, yeah. Yeah, refined carbs can be kind of unhealthy for you. But carbs are good. Like if you have carbs, you can like retain more water weight and you can look bigger. Creatine helps a lot too, bro, as well. Creatine is a game changer. 1 second. Reply to this text. Creatine is a game changer. I take like 10 grams of creatine a day. But when I first started taking that, my scale went right up. Wait 1 second. L-carnitine is a really good supplement as well. I like taking that. Take that every day normally. L-carnitine is very good. One second, what can L-carnitine, it helps your body transport more testosterone and it burns fat as energy. It's pretty good. Oh, it's back to TP2. This gonna go crazy. Have a bias, bullish on the date. Don't think and just take it. Go crazy. I've been focusing more on cardio. No, no, no. Don't fo if you focus more on cardio than weightlifting, bro, like you're gonna fucking lose muscle. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're gonna lose muscle. You need weight training. Like cardio, I mean, you don't need cardio to lose weight. It's just extra calories and it's good for your heart, you know? Um, like walking, getting your steps in will help with that. Content? I am not a crazy content creator, bro. I do not have the biggest following. But I think one reason I don't have a I mean, learn from my mistakes. I think it's consistency, bro. Like, I mean, I've been consistent. I've been posting content for a few years. Um, but like, I just really post for like, for me, really, bro. Like, when I say for me, like what problems I was going through. You know, I just try and talk to one person in my content. I don't really like try and speak to 1,000 people. You know, like I'm not like my if you notice all my content is very specific. You know, it's very, very specific. It's like one, you know, like that's why like, you know, like a lot of people follow me, but the people who do, I like to think they fuck with me, you know? Um, so it's one of them ones, bro. But like you just gotta be yourself. And just document yourself, bro. I think that's probably the thing I probably should have done more of was documenting more of my journey. You know, just document more of it and just being more consistent, really, bro. Like that's really what it comes down to is just being more consistent. You know, like, you know, there's some months I don't post content on YouTube, some weeks I don't post content on Instagram. One thing that like in terms of the content on Instagram that's got me views, like my most viewed video I think on Instagram is like 4 million views, something like that. It honestly was a rage bait, bro. It's fucking rage bait people, challenge people's beliefs. You know, like st I'll state in beliefs and just fucking disagreeing with it. Um, well, YM's gone crazy. But yeah, there's like and like it depends what you want to do, bro. Like, you know, document yourself, show your life, and just kind of focus on like one main industry, bro, and you will start attracting the right people. You know, obviously I don't have a giant following, but from and being I think that's it. But I probably would have grown more if I posted like every single week, or you know, like if I had a schedule. So one thing I've done recently, I've batch created a shit ton of content. So I've got like 5 videos ready, just going to be coming out once a week, and I'm like kind of ahead of myself now, you know? Damn, YM is fucking screaming, boys. Power of that scanner, eh? But yeah, man, I think just be real, post yourself. I think the more you do, the better you get. I'd like to think the more content I posted, the better I've got it. And you learn, you know, like don't worry about views. I don't really care about the views I get. I don't care about like, I just post for the sake of it, man. And when I say post, like I'm trying to speak to like one person, myself or like other people who might have can relate to that problem. I think you can also study your content. Like, for example, if I go back and look at my content, like earlier I was looking at my content, I was like, well, what videos get views, what ones don't get views? I'm just trying to create more of the ones that create views, you know? I used to hate Greek and yogurt until you became a gym bro. Yeah, man. That shit used to taste nasty. Bro, like again, the settings don't fucking matter with the scanner, brother. Like, I'll be real with you, man. Like, here's what you do, right? You build a bias on the chart. Fuck the fucking scanner. All right. You build a bias on the chart. Are you buying or selling? All right. Okay, we're bullish. You come onto the scanner, you press just look for buys. You know, I turn off the trade window for custom settings. I mean, because I'm only going to look at it during the session I'm in. I mean TPs like this, two, 1 to 2, 1 to 5, maybe 1 to 10. I don't really bother about TP3 to be honest. Um, Stop loss buffer point 0.1, point 0.1, and that's it really, man. That's it. Like the point is like use the logic of the scanner, brother. You know, like use the logic. That's what you want to do. You want to use the logic with the scanner. That's the most important thing. So when I talk about use the logic with a scanner, what does that mean? So like, let's say, we said on indices, right, potentially bullish. We're still in we had a lot of volume on the higher time frame spring. We said that normally on a bullish day we get a sell-off at the open before rallying, right? We looked at YM was our potential lagger, potential accumulation. It comes in at the open and then it calls it. We've already got the bias, so then you can just follow it, especially if you've got a POI. And obviously this case is just a spring play. So it's a little bit more on the riskier side. But yeah, man, I don't worry about the stat table, bro. Like I never look at the stat table, you know? Um, it's the logic. And like let's say you want to play a refined entry where you come in, it's doing a lower time frame, okay, it gives a sign of strength, play the mitigation, you know, done. You know? The entry, bro, that was off my AI scanner, bro. Trial it, man. But that's why you gotta have the bias. Obviously, what was the bias? So I can see that I know that indices normally, if they're bullish, they'll sell off at the open before rallying, right? If they're bearish, they'll rally at the open before dropping. I noticed that we had a large distro. Was it YM? Or NQ? Yeah, we had a lot of absorption in the manipulation. We accumulated and then potentially rallying. And then obviously pre-market, I can see us accumulating. So session open, we came in, we manipulated the low, sign of strength, NQ's mitigating, NQ's showing strength. And then YM was our lagger. YM was selling off the most. I'll come back. Um, and then yeah, we build an accumulation, and that's what the scanner does. It calls springs, right? So when you have a sell-off at the open, a shit ton of volume comes in, the market starts accumulating, like it's probably going to reverse. Especially if you can see Nasdaq already doing that. Like Nasdaq was already starting to show strength a little bit, nothing too crazy. And you zoom in on the lower time frame, it also built on micro accumulation. If you wanted to play that, but again, this is what helps with the scanner. Like it gives you entries if you can build a bias. The scanner didn't show me this entry. I don't modify. You're on YM on the 1 minute. Change the data feed. Maybe you have delayed data. Maybe you're sitting 10 minutes below it. Make sure your settings, custom window, turn off custom windows, days of the week. Let me know, bro. If you can't see it, let me know. I'll try and help you make sure the scanner shows you. Oh yeah, and supplements help too. But like one supplement in terms of that. Oh, I need to start taking my Shilajit again. But one thing I've been really enjoying is L-carnitine supplement. Really good. I buy these vials and I inject it. It's not a steroid, but you can take the pills. Pills are not as effective, but it basically just makes your body use your testosterone that you already have more efficiently. It's like imagine in your body you have vehicles delivering all your hormones to different parts of your body. It's just upgrading those vehicles so it delivers the testosterone more efficiently and uses your fat as a fuel source. So during workouts, you're going to burn a little bit of extra fat. And like, magnesium, zinc for sleep. They help boost testosterone. Vitamin D helps boost testosterone. B vitamins for energy, omega 3s for your joints. Get enough fat in your diet as well, it's good for your hormones. Mm, mm, mm. No, check this. Um, What's this YM? What is this? I wouldn't take that. It's fucking during Asia session. I only trade these during New York, right? But probably not on the 1 minute, and you're probably not on YM. They're on gold. Yeah, bro, because we're on gold, man. This ain't gold. This is US30. This is YM. This is YM1, brother. This is not gold. This is YM. But yeah, scanner went crazy. So I think we're probably gonna have a bullish day, maybe. I mean, we'll see what we do out of here. If we start distributing and redistributing. If this thing does start redistributing, then we might start playing shorts. But as of now, there's a lot of volume coming here. And I think higher time frame, we probably could turn to these reaccums. Um, oh shit, NQ called a buy on the 1 hour, eh? I called that when that called that on Tuesday? Absorption? Yeah, man, look at that absorption on there, bro. Fuck me. So yeah, I think we might be more on that bullish side, boys and girls. Unless we just want to collapse and fucking start showing major weakness. Silver? Um, I'd rather trade gold, bro. I don't want to trade silver. Oh, gold called a short up there, man. You're in London. God damn. Called that UTAD. I'm good, bro. Like, I'm not too bothered. Oh, what's this doing? 15 second. Do I want to take it? Why is it calling short here? Oh, it called that engulfing. Do we have leader on silver? No. I mean, if we see some redistros. Oh, you caught this one? Really? Bro, like your indicator's off, bro. Like your Asian session, because the one you sent, your Asia session one was up here. No? Maybe. Oh no, maybe I'm tripping. It wants to short gold from here, but it's accumulated. Because I think we're gonna get some food. I want to keep an eye on indices. I mean, I'm happy with that euro trade. Obviously, YM did its little thing. Euro, there might be a bit of strength coming in as well till we come up to here. And dollar could probably give a pullback. Yeah, dollar starting to pull back. Dollar could probably give a pullback and do something like that. I'm going to be careful that dollar could be a larger distro as well. Be careful, this could be a larger distro. But dollar is still bullish until we at least break here. If we break there, I'll look into there probably next week for more buys on dollar. Um, I think dollar could probably give a pullback now, which if dollar's going to pull lower, that can send gold higher. So that doesn't make me really want to short gold from here. And you could, if, but I'm good. If dollar's going to come lower, that could drive gold a bit higher. Well, scanner's apparently more powerful than me at this point. Really fucking dropping. Again, this is why we have AI, man. Like AI can literally make decisions that you can't. Um, but yeah, I think if we're going to keep seeing more strength on these, we can definitely try and watch for the reaccum. So we're coming into supply, monitor for a distro, and then see if we get that reaccum. If we get the reaccum, I'll definitely be all over more buyers on YM. Also going to be careful. Now we're coming into the session. A lot of volume, actually. Yeah, we'll see if we get the reaccums. Obviously, if we want to break this and start redistributing, This could be okay. I think if we break this, this could be the high of the week, and then we're probably going to be bearish for the next session and tomorrow. If we sustain this bullishness, play reaccums. So my line in the sand is going to be the New York low. That's going to be my line in the sand. You're going to give me signal on NQ. Keep an eye in there. But I need to go to the toilet. So I'm going to shoot and then grab another meal. Keep an eye on indices if they want to keep rallying throughout the session. If they do, I can keep playing some more buys on them. Well, I think gold signal hit TP. I didn't take that. Anyone take that? It's about to hit TP. It's break even. I personally would have rather it come a little bit higher, but yeah, I'll keep an eye on, see what indices want to do. NQ's coming in here. NQ might want to give something. Wait, put on sales, put on buys. Do we have any leaders? Yes, it's starting to do its thing. I'd rather YM. Oh, YM starting to lead in the lower time frame now. NQ's lagging on the lower time frame because it's the only one inside that reaccum. Super fast. Super fast. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab some food. Keep an eye on what these things are doing. Anyone got any other questions? If not, we'll call it a day. Nathan should be doing his call on Sunday. And obviously, yeah, anyone needs me, I'll be in the chat. So I'm gonna go grab some food. Keep an eye, like I mentioned, line in the sand on these lows down here. As long as indices don't break these lows, we should be good for that bullish narrative still. Um, so yeah, cool. Nathan will do his call on Sunday. I'll see you guys again Tuesday and then Thursday as well, like usual. So that being said, I'll see you lot in the groups. Take care. Nathan's recording. It should be in the group. Should be in the group. If not, I'll ping him a message. All right, guys, cool. Take care. I'll see you lot in the groups. Keep an eye on indices. Keep an eye on dollar. Be careful with these things. But yeah, take care, guys. See you lot at the top from the top because that bottom is too crowded.